Good afternoon. Welcome to the Sobering Truth podcast, where we are dedicated to lowering the reputation of alcohol in the court of public opinion. I'm Joyce Cook, and my co-host is Miss Iris Stevens. Hello, Iris. How are you today?
I'm doing just great. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. Today, we're shining a light on other organizations that are like us across the nation that are working hard to raise awareness about alcohol's negative impact. You know, sometimes, Iris, some of those who are active in the Arkansas Family Coalition, we may think that we're virtually alone in this struggle to educate the public about the dangers of alcohol abuse, but we're not. It kind of reminds me of Elijah when he was distraught about Jezebel chasing him and wanting to get him and wanting to kill him, and God told him there were 7,000 in Israel that weren't bending the knee to Baal, and I believe there are many millions who've not bowed the knee to alcohol. What do you think?
Oh, I know there aren't. I've been stunned by watching the social media, Facebook and Instagram and places like that, even TikTok, where we've got groups that have are making it their mission to speak against alcohol and how to solve the problem if they find themselves addicted. And it's been really interesting. Once you hit one or two of those sites, then the algorithm brings others to you. And I have just really been surprised by the number of groups and how good they are that are on the same track that we are, trying to lessen the attraction of alcohol, trying to make it into the way that we look at tobacco now, which is generally not positive.
Right, people don't smoke that much in movies, in the newer movies now, and we're hoping that that will happen with alcohol. Right now, it's anytime they have a problem in a television show, movie, they go to the bar. And you, you remember talking about the alcohol companies? Remember that book Unsafe at Any Speed that Ralph Nader wrote? It was about the auto
Yes.
industry's resistance to safety features in cars. It makes me think of the alcohol companies. A lot of times they're put in charge of monitoring things like advertising and whatnot, and it's like the fox guarding the hen house to me.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah.
But I found this video of this doctor, this Harvard doctor. I think she said she teaches at Harvard, and I found it interesting. And she's talking about the harm of alcohol, and I just wanted to share it with you and our audience.
No amount of alcohol is actually.
And let me get that up there. There she is.
Safe. I'm Dr. Tricia Pastricha, and I'm an instructor of medicine at Harvard Medical School and the Ask a Doctor columnist for the Washington Post. Here's what you need to know. The Surgeon General just issued a new advisory outlining the direct link between alcohol consumption and cancer risk. For instance, 16.4% of cases of breast cancer are directly attributable to alcohol consumption. Alcohol use is the third leading preventable cause of cancer in this country, after smoking and obesity. This may come as a surprise because many people think that wine can be good for you. Prior studies did show that light to moderate drinking may be associated with a slight reduction in cardiovascular disease, but a 2023 meta-analysis almost entirely debunked this idea. Drinking even just a few drinks per week has been shown to raise the risk of cancer. We've created this culture that has normalized, even glamorized light to moderate drinking, and the amount of drinking we might consider normal really shifted during the pandemic, and a deluge of health consequences really followed. Cutting down alcohol is definitely a step in the right direction, but if minimizing your cancer risk is really the goal, elimination is important. Fortunately, non-alcoholic beverages are increasingly mainstream. What health topic should we cover next? Shoot me a message in the comments. My patients often ask me how much alcohol is safe to drink.
So she was talking about how much alcohol, and she said if you wanted to eliminate your risk of cancer, just eliminate the alcohol, basically.
Well, yeah, and I can believe that because when we first started off, we looked at seven, and there actually is, I think now eight, because they've linked alcohol to prostate cancer, which I don't think was on our list when we first started talking. And something I found out the other day that I was really surprised. It shouldn't be surprising, but that osteoporosis is also associated with drinking. That
Oh,
women who drank alcohol in their lifetime suggested that they had reduced bone mineral density in their bones. So alcohol also relates to osteoporosis. If you don't want to get it, lessen the amount that you drink or don't drink at all. And of
mm,
course, osteoporosis we think of as people, for people who are older. But anytime, you have a hysterectomy, anytime you go through menopause, you start suffering those effects of less bone density. So that's something that is totally new based on when we started discussing this. So yeah, I think this Harvard doctor, I like it. I like that she writes for the Washington Post, because for so long, people who resisted alcohol and who basically preached against alcohol were considered, really right wing religious zealots. But now we're seeing people across the spectrum understand how bad alcohol is for the country. Not just for the alcoholic, but for people surrounding it, people who love that person. And I think that's wonderful that we're seeing it, in a broader perspective now than what we have for years.
right. And she mentioned about the the wine being talked about being good for you, and they've had studies about that, and I just wonder who funded that study.
Well, probably the alcohol industry funded it, but a lot of doctors said that, take a little wine an evening, a glass of wine would actually be good for your heart. And we're seeing now that, like she said, no amount of alcohol is really good for you because it's poison. It's a toxin. It poisons your liver, it poisons your brain, it goes beyond the brain blood barrier, so, when these alcohol companies fund these kind of studies and get doctors on board with them, it can really skew what the truth is.
Right. We just want to get at the truth. And I talked to you about this alcohol justice.org, and I'm going to pull it up right here and their website. And they have several campaigns. Uh, I believe they're out of California. And one of them is their Point Zero Five Saves Lives campaign, and they support state efforts to lower the blood alcohol level limit to Point Zero Five. And they base this on the fact that lowering the blood alcohol level in the United States from 0.10 to 0.08 between 82 and 2014 resulted in about a 10.4 reduction in alcohol in annual drinking driver fatal crashes. And they estimated that since its implementation, the point zero 0.08 blood alcohol level law has saved nearly 25,000 lives. I found that incredible.
Yeah, that really is incredible. Um, I think a lot of other states are also pushing for that lowering. I wish the federal government would. That's how we got the .08 level, I think, was the federal government insisted on it, or it would, cut back on transportation funds. And maybe they could do that again. Our president doesn't drink, which is one of the first things I found out about him. And I have to admit, I was impressed because, anybody in his position who doesn't drink, that shows a lot of character, I think. And so if we could lower, to a .05, I think it would be great.
Oh, I do too. And they also have a campaign about advertising. They want to rein in the alcohol ads that are literally everywhere. They did it to big tobacco. Why not big alcohol? Are they not held to the same standard as big tobacco?
Well, that's a good question, because I remember when big tobacco, when they first started this drive against it, they were looking at simply basically lung cancer, that it created, that smoking created. And not just smoking, but other forms of tobacco, had problems too. And everybody thought, well, they wouldn't be able to get anything done working against big tobacco, but they did. It was groups like ours, that got the information out there, and people who pressured the legislature to do something, the federal legislature to do something. And, surprisingly, they really did. And they stopped it the way that we should be able to stop the alcohol, by stopping advertising, raising the taxes on the product, and, other areas. And it should work the same for alcohol that it does for tobacco.
Right. And another campaign that they have is called Change for Harm. And it is, I'll pull it up here. It is, they point out that big alcohol produces, sells, and promote products that cause harm and incur costs to citizens and government. And they want to appropriately tax alcohol and state and federal, use state and federal, state and federal taxing. If your product causes harm, you should have to pay for it.
Yeah, and see, that's what do you remember the big tobacco settlement that it was? I don't remember how much. It was in the billions of dollars, and it was distributed among all of the states in the United States to help with the harm that tobacco had done. States got money to help with surgeries and medical costs and things for people who had been basically gotten cancer and things from tobacco. And they need to consider that with alcohol. Look how many people get killed on the road. Look how many people look at just the death and destruction that follows alcohol.
That's true. There's another place called Care Dallas that I found. Got it up on the screen. Their mission is to promote education and awareness in Dallas about alcohol and substance abuse. And they say that through their awareness education, they equip the community with critical knowledge about the dangers of underage drinking and substance abuse. So that's good. They're starting with the youth. And they
and I don't know if they cover alcohol in their DARE programs, that deal with in the middle schools, elementary and middle school, junior high schools, with the DARE program. I don't know if they do alcohol or if it's simply other drugs, but of course, alcohol is the drug of choice for millions of people. It is a drug.
Right.
As a matter of fact, that information that I got about the osteoporosis said that it's even worse when it's combined with caffeine, apparently, in coffee. So coffee drinkers who also drink alcohol have a greater problem with bone mineral density, osteoporosis. So they work together.
One thing that bothers me is that while maybe the alcohol may be it's less, they're drinking less. They may be some people may be going to marijuana,
and that seems to be what's happening with our younger kids. The teenagers up into young adults have abandoned alcohol greatly and picked up marijuana to use, which is not any better. They're both drugs that act on pretty much the same areas of your brain.
I know. It's like, can we not put substances in our body because it's not good for us? And like the doctor was saying, she was saying that non-alcoholic drinks are becoming more popular. So, I mean, if they want to use that and have, a lot of different flavors, different drinks, and not have to have the alcohol in it, I think that's a great idea.
I think those have always been good. The virgin drinks is what they were called when I was younger. But, it tells me where we are as a society that we're beginning to be aware of, and I think people have been aware of it for a long time, but we're beginning to act on alcohol at a time when we see this rise in other drugs that alter our consciousness, alter our experiences and things. And you have to wonder what we need to do to get people not to want to use any kind of substance that alters our reality.
Right. I agree. I was going to show everyone this other one. Um, it's called, it's in North Carolina, Community Impact North Carolina. There's their website. They've been doing this for 40 years as a service to the community. They're one of North Carolina's leading organizations committed to preventing alcohol and other drug harms in their communities. They started in 1982 as a group of concerned citizens in response to what was seen as a crisis. Remember what Bob said? He called it a crisis here. So
Yes.
other people are seeing it, and they work in partnership with communities to help minimize the harm caused by substance abuse. So I just wanted everyone to see that we're not alone. We we shouldn't think like Elijah did, but there are others out there doing good work, and we just want to get the information out there. And also, I wanted to say that in January, people are looking forward to New Year's Eve parties. Not me. I like to be at home, not on the highway. And there is what's called Dry January, and it means no alcohol. So that would be a good time for some people to think about that as their New Year's resolution. Maybe not drink this year, this January, at least this January. Try it and see how much better you feel. And try some of those virgin drinks without alcohol.
Yeah. Um, I have been out, when I was a lot younger, and I don't like the taste of alcohol. And so I have had, that's what I would drink, would be the virgin drinks. Pina coladas were my favorite. I love, the taste, but I didn't like the taste of the alcohol. So luckily, you could get it without alcohol in it. And I would like to see people do that too, because, that's one of the holidays that we seem to have a lot of wrecks on the road, from people who are drinking. Now, our state police seems to come out heavily at that time because they know that's going to be a time when a lot of people are drinking or out on the road. What has made me feel better is I talked to my granddaughter, who has let me know that, all of her friends plan on having a designated driver. She's the designated driver on a lot of the times that they're out. And so I think we have gotten that message through to a lot of kids. I wish it had gotten through to the adults.
Right.